I want you to imagine a situation. Imagine you are sitting in a very important meeting at work.
Oh, that sounds a little stressful already.
Right, it is. The room is quiet, and suddenly your manager turns to you and asks you a complex question in English. Now, you know the answer perfectly in your native language. Like, the knowledge is right there in your head.
Yeah, you know exactly what you want to say.
Exactly. But as your brain frantically scrambles to find the right English words and then tries to arrange them into the correct grammar, the silence stretches on.
Oh, that silence.
Yeah. 1 second passes, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And when you are in the middle of a conversation, a 3-second delay feels like an absolute eternity.
It really does. And then finally you speak. You get the sentence out. But the sheer mental effort it took just to produce those few words leaves you feeling completely drained.
It's exhausting.
It is. If you are learning English or really any second language, you probably know this exact feeling. It is the heavy, exhausting delay of translating in your head.
Yeah, and that brings us to our topic today. We're jumping right into a deep dive on something every single English learner faces. How do you stop that secret mental translation?
Right. How do you drop the delay?
Yes, how do you drop the delay and start thinking directly in English? Okay, let's unpack this. The notes, research, and language acquisition strategies we are unpacking today explain the fascinating science behind why this happens in your brain.
And more importantly, how to fix it. Because the mental fatigue you feel during those 3 seconds, it's very real.
Yeah, you aren't just imagining it.
Not at all. When you translate in your head, you are basically forcing your brain to run a massive multi-step program.
Right.
Think about the sequence of events here. First, you form a complex thought in your native language.
Okay, step 1.
Then second, you search your memory for the matching English vocabulary.
Which takes time.
Yes. Third, you organize those words into English grammar, desperately hoping the rules apply correctly.
Oh yeah, checking the verb tenses and everything.
Exactly. And fourth, you finally tell your mouth to speak. Every single one of those steps burns a tremendous amount of cognitive energy.
You know, it makes me think of driving a car with the parking brake pulled up.
Oh, I like that.
Like, the car is moving forward, you are communicating, right? You are getting the job done.
Yeah.
But it takes way too much effort. The car is shaking, it is moving slowly, and eventually you are going to completely burn out the engine.
Yes.
And in this case, the engine is your brain.
That is a perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
But before we talk about how to take that parking brake off, we need to reframe how we view translation.
What do you mean by reframe?
Well, a lot of learners feel a deep sense of guilt when they catch themselves translating. They think it means they are failing.
Oh, right, like they're doing something wrong.
Exactly. But translation is actually a completely necessary, highly useful bridge for beginners.
Wait, really? So it's not a terrible habit that we need to aggressively break from day one?
Exactly. When you first start learning a language, you simply do not have enough English vocabulary yet.
Right.
You have to rely on your strongest language to support you. It is scaffolding. It helps you stand up while you build the walls of the house.
Okay, that makes sense.
The problem only starts when you keep relying on that scaffolding long after the walls are strong enough to stand on their own. Eventually, you have to step off the bridge.
So how do we step off? Because native speakers obviously drive the car without the parking brake.
Right.
They aren't running that exhausting 4-step translation process in their heads before they, order a cup of coffee.
Not at all. And the reason they don't have to is because of a cognitive process called automaticity.
Automaticity.
Yes. Let's slow down and really focus on that word, because it is the key to everything we are exploring today in this deep dive.
Okay, let's hear it.
Automaticity. Automaticity. It means doing a mental task so quickly and so easily that you don't even realize you are doing it.
Ah, okay. It's kind of like tying your shoes.
Yes, perfect example.
Like, when you are 5 years old, you have to think about every single loop. You hold the laces tightly, you pull them through, you check your work.
It takes all your concentration.
It really does. But as an adult, your hands just do it automatically. You could be having a deep, complex, philosophical conversation while tying your shoe.
That's fascinating here is how this applies to language. In language learning, automaticity means retrieving word patterns instantly.
Okay.
When we look at the neuroscience behind this, it gets incredibly interesting. When you first learn a new English word, the neural pathway in your brain is very weak.
Right, it's brand new.
It is like walking through a thick, overgrown jungle with a machete. chopping down heavy vines just to take a single step forward.
Oh, wow. So it's slow and hard.
Exactly. But the more you use that specific path, the clearer it gets.
And eventually, the brain actually insulates those pathways to make them faster, right? I was reading about myelination in the sources, this fatty substance in the brain that wraps around the neurons.
Yes, myelin acts exactly like the rubber insulation around an electrical wire.
Oh, to keep the electricity inside.
Right, it prevents the signal from leaking out.
Yeah.
When a pathway in your brain is heavily myelinated, the electrical signal, which is your thought, can travel up to 100 times faster.
100 times. That is amazing.
It really is. So when you achieve automaticity, you don't think about the grammar rules. The thought simply arrives at its destination instantly.
So how do we build that super fast insulated highway for English? The research points heavily to a strategy called chunking.
Yes, chunking is huge.
Which basically means learning whole phrases instead of individual isolated words.
This is where the magic happens in language acquisition. Think about a common phrase like, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
A fluent speaker does not consciously search their brain for the word how, and then search for the word are, and then search for the word you, and stitch them together.
Right. The brain just stores that entire phrase as a single file. It is one piece of data.
Exactly.
Like if you memorize 1,000 single words, your brain has to constantly dig through 1,000 different files to build one sentence.
Which takes a lot of time.
Yeah. But if you learn chunks phrases like, I would like a coffee, or on the other hand, or what do you think? You are giving your brain pre-built files that it can grab instantly in one smooth motion.
And no translation required. And, building up that vast mental library of chunks requires massive exposure to the language.
Right. You need to hear it a lot.
Yes. Language researchers talk a lot about the importance of comprehensible input.
Let's explain that term for our listeners.
Sure. This means absorbing huge amounts of English by listening and reading things you mostly understand, even if the material is just slightly challenging.
But wait, hold on. I need to challenge this idea politely, just for the sake of our learners.
Go ahead.
If I'm just passively sitting on my couch listening to English for 3 hours, my jaw isn't practicing making English sounds. I'm just sitting there.
Right.
Doesn't that actually hurt my speaking speed in the real world? Everyone always says you have to force yourself to speak from day one if you want to get faster.
That is a very valid concern, and a debate you hear often in language learning.
Yeah, input versus output.
Right. Output, which is speaking and writing, is absolutely required to build the physical muscle memory in your mouth.
Okay, so you do need to speak.
Yes, but undervaluing massive input genuinely starves your brain. If you do not listen extensively, you do not give your brain the raw materials it needs to build those chunking files.
Oh, I see.
Listening for hundreds of hours trains your brain to hear the natural melody and rhythm of English. It slowly programs your unconscious mind to expect certain words to follow other words.
It basically fills the warehouse so your brain actually has something to retrieve when it is time to speak.
Exactly.
But filling that warehouse takes a lot of time. And because this neurological process of myelination and chunking is so gradual, learners inevitably hit a wall.
Yes, they do.
We need to talk about the intermediate plateau.
The plateau. Almost every single language learner spends a long, highly frustrating time in this phase.
It is that terrible feeling where you are studying every single day, but your English doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Right.
The fast, exciting progress you made as a beginner just stops flat. You feel stuck.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of the biology of brain development, the plateau makes total sense.
How so?
Well, early progress in a language is incredibly fast because it involves surface-level memorization.
Like learning basic nouns.
Right. You learn the word for apple, you point at an apple, and you feel successful. It is highly visible, rewarding progress.
But shifting from basic memory to true automaticity is entirely different. You know, the plateau is a lot like building the foundation of a skyscraper.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Yeah, like when you are building the first floor, everyone sees the progress. It goes up fast.
Mm-hmm.
But when the construction crew is digging deep into the dirt to pour the massive concrete foundation, it looks from the outside like absolutely nothing is happening.
Right, it's just a hole in the ground.
Exactly. You might even feel like you're going backward because it is so messy.
But that invisible work is the most critical part of the entire building. Without it, the skyscraper falls down.
Right.
During the plateau, your brain is doing the quiet, heavy work of laying down myelin and building those direct pathways. It is shifting knowledge from short-term memory into deep automatic retrieval.
So if you are listening to this right now and feeling completely stuck on that intermediate plateau, just take a deep breath.
Yes, don't panic.
Your progress has not stopped. The construction is just happening underground. You are not failing.
That is a very comforting truth to remember. But it also begs the question, what can we do to actively help that underground construction?
Right. How do we speed it up?
If the goal is to stop translating, how do we design our daily habits to push through the plateau?
Well, let's look at some daily routines. Because if we want to stop translating, we need to make the act of translating practically impossible,
Right.
starting with the physical speed of speaking. If you struggle with freezing up when you try to talk, there is a powerful technique called shadowing.
Shadowing is an aggressive, highly effective way to cut the translation bridge.
How does it work?
You put on an audio track of a native English speaker, and you repeat what they're saying instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Like at the same time.
Yes. You speak almost at the exact same moment they do, mimicking their rhythm, their pauses, and their tone.
The genius of shadowing is the extreme time pressure. If you are speaking just a quarter of a second behind the audio track, your brain literally does not have the time to convert the English into your native language and back again.
Exactly.
You are forced to process the sound and produce the sound directly.
It is intense. It physically removes the brain's luxury of using the translation bridge.
Okay, so shadowing fixes the physical speaking speed. But what happens when you are just sitting alone at your desk trying to compose a difficult email?
That's a different situation.
Yeah, how do we stop the slow translation process when there is no time pressure at all?
That requires moving away from bilingual tools. Most learners rely heavily on a translation dictionary on their phone.
Oh, I've seen that.
You see an English word you don't know, and you immediately look up the equivalent word in your native language.
Which means you are literally practicing the act of translating. Every time you do that, you are making the translation muscle stronger instead of the English muscle.
Yes, you're reinforcing the delay. The solution is switching entirely to a monolingual dictionary.
A monolingual dictionary.
Right, which means an English dictionary designed for English speakers where words are explained using other, simpler English words.
It forces you to stay in the English zone. Even when you are confused, even when you are actively looking for help, you are processing English to find the answer.
Exactly.
Let's say you look up the word hesitate. Instead of seeing your native language, you read, to pause before saying or doing something because you are nervous.
Right.
You just read an entire English sentence to learn one new word. You are learning while you search.
And to take that immersive concept a step further, you can start narrating your own life. This is a technique called self-talk.
Oh, I love self-talk. It removes the social terror of practicing.
Yes, it is completely private.
Right. If you are talking to a native speaker, your heart might be beating fast because you are afraid of looking foolish or making a grammar mistake.
Which causes anxiety.
Yeah. But self-talk is just you, silently describing your day in your own head in English.
It can be incredibly mundane. You might think, I am walking to the kitchen. I am opening the fridge. We are out of milk. I need to remember to buy milk on the way home.
By becoming the English narrator of your own life, you practice the internal cognitive skill of direct thought in a completely safe, stress-free environment.
And notice how this connects to environment design. The more you surround yourself with English, the less energy you have to spend finding it.
Like changing the language on your devices.
Yes. Changing your phone's operating language to English. Watching television shows without subtitles from your native country.
You are setting up the path of least resistance. You are making it so that thinking in English is actually easier than switching back and forth. But what happens when you inevitably hit a wall? Let's say you are practicing this self-talk. You are making breakfast and you want to say, I'm whisking the eggs.
Okay.
But you don't know the English word whisk, the metal cooking tool with the loops. The immediate instinct is to grab the phone and translate it.
Which completely breaks the automaticity we are trying to build. This is where the skill of paraphrasing becomes your best friend.
Paraphrasing. Let's explain that.
Paraphrasing simply means explaining something using different words. It is a vital survival skill in any language.
So instead of stopping to look up whisk, you describe around it. You say out loud in your kitchen, I'm using the metal tool to mix the eggs quickly.
Yes. Doing that forces your brain to solve a complex problem using only the English tools currently available in your mental toolbox.
That's clever.
Native speakers do this constantly when they forget a word. They describe around it. By paraphrasing, you build incredible mental flexibility.
But to really use these tools, shadowing, monolingual dictionaries, self-talk, paraphrasing, you have to accept that things are going to get messy.
Oh, absolutely.
Which brings us to the very difficult battle between fluency and accuracy.
This raises an important question. Accuracy is about correctness. It is having the perfect verb tense, the flawless preposition, the exact right pronunciation.
Right.
Fluency, on the other hand, is about flow. It is about speaking smoothly and continuously without those painful 3-second pauses.
So if a learner is actively trying to break the habit of translating in their head, which one wins? Fluency or accuracy?
Fluency must temporarily take priority over accuracy.
Oh, wow.
This is very hard for perfectionists to hear. But if you constantly pause your sentence to internally check your grammar rules before you speak, you're actively reinforcing the slow translation habit.
You are pulling the parking brake again.
Exactly. You have to deliberately practice speaking fast, knowing you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Give yourself permission to say the wrong verb tense in the name of speed. The direct thinking pathway in the brain gets stronger when it is forced to move quickly.
That makes total sense.
You can sit down with a textbook and practice accuracy later. But in the moment of speaking, you must let go of perfection.
That freedom from perfection is what eventually leads to deeper immersion, which naturally brings up something a lot of language learners ask about dreaming in English.
Ah, yes. The dream milestone.
Everyone always says that the moment you have a dream in English, it means you have finally made it. You are officially fluent. Is that the ultimate goal we should be chasing?
It is definitely a beautiful milestone. It shows your brain is processing the language deeply, even while you sleep, consolidating all those chunks we talked about earlier.
Right.
But I strongly advise against making it an active goal.
Really? Because it's completely out of our control.
Precisely. You cannot force an unconscious process. If you treat dreaming in English as a pass or fail test for your fluency, you will just end up frustrated.
That's true.
Focus on the conscious, practical steps like self-talk and environment design. Let the dreams happen as a natural, happy accident.
I like that. And speaking of expectations, some learners worry that thinking in English means they are supposed to completely erase their native language.
Oh, no.
Like they need to forcefully stop thinking in their mother tongue entirely.
Which is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
The goal of learning a new language is never to erase your first one.
Good.
You are not replacing your old operating system. You are installing a second, brand new operating system alongside it.
Ah, bilingual flexibility, having the capacity to think directly in either language, depending on where you are and who you are talking to.
Yes.
Like if you are in a business meeting in London, you boot up the English system. If you are calling your family back home, you boot up your native system.
Exactly. Navigating between two distinct linguistic worlds makes the brain incredibly strong and adaptable. It delays cognitive decline and improves problem solving.
Wow.
It is a superpower, not a replacement.
Okay, let's bring this all together for our listener. The big takeaway from our deep dive today is that you don't just wake up one morning and magically decide to stop translating.
No, you don't.
You don't just flip a switch in your brain.
You build automaticity, layer by layer, myelin on top of myelin.
You use the tools. You flood your brain with comprehensible input so it can build a mental library of chunks.
Right.
You shadow native speakers to remove the time for translation. You switch your phone and your dictionary to English. You narrate your daily life silently in your head.
And gradually, as you do these things, the act of translating becomes unnecessary.
Yeah.
Eventually, trying to translate a thought back into your native language will actually feel slower and harder than just thinking it directly in English.
The shortcut finally becomes longer than the main road. I love that. So I want to challenge you, the listener, right now. We covered a lot of strategies today.
I've covered a lot.
Do not try to implement all of them tomorrow morning. That will just cause burnout and frustration. Pick just one.
Just one tool.
Yeah, just one. Maybe tomorrow morning you just try describing your breakfast in your head using self-talk. Be gentle with yourself, give it a try, and see how it feels.
Small, consistent steps build the deepest pathways in the brain.
Beautifully said. Before we wrap up this deep dive, do you have a final thought to leave us with? Something we can ponder while we practice?
I do. Since our thoughts deeply shape our emotions, and since different languages have their own unique rhythms, histories, and cultural concepts built right into the vocabulary, think about this.
Okay.
When you finally build that automaticity and you start thinking directly in English, does it actually give you a slightly different personality or a different emotional baseline? than when you think in your native language.
Oh, wow. Wait, really?
It's something to think about.
A whole different version of yourself waiting to be unlocked. That is a fascinating thing to think about. Well, until next time, keep practicing, be kind to yourself, and take it one step at a time.